Next, we have Mr. Everson. You are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chairman Fisher, Ranking Member Lujan, Chairman Cruz, Ranking Member Cantwell, and distinguished senators, thank you for the invitation to testify. My name is Bob Everson. For 30 years at Cisco, I have worked on the systems powering our nation's critical networks, and I've never seen a shift this consequential. Artificial intelligence is not just another application. It is driving a new connectivity fabric that will help define U.S. economic strength and national security for decades. Today, I will focus on how AI is transforming our networks and how Cisco is using AI to improve them. First, AI is changing not only the volume of network traffic, but the behavior. Cisco measured a 4-fold increase in AI inference traffic over 8 months. Networks have traditionally been optimized for content flowing downstream. AI is far more two-way and uplink intensive. Prompts, context, sensor data, and agent activity all travel back towards AI models, and the resulting connections are active longer than conventional web transactions. AI agents will amplify these effects by operating at software speed. In our testing, an agent generated 450% more traffic than a person performing the same task, and roughly 70% of that additional traffic was inference. Meeting these demands requires more balanced network designs, greater upstream capacity, resilient paths with end-to-end visibility, stronger security, and quality of service that can be tailored to AI traffic. As models become faster, the locations where computing occurs, from centralized clouds to the edge, will increasingly affect performance, cost, and data governance. A network this fast and distributed cannot be operated solely at human pace. Through agentic ops, Cisco uses AI to support self-healing operations, identifying faults, rerouting traffic, and recovering at machine speed. Our deep network models can distinguish legitimate AI traffic from anomalies, help predict and isolate threats, identify vulnerabilities, and guide operators in deploying patches. AI-native mobile networks can use spectrum and infrastructure more efficiently, adapt in real time, and enable new services. For service providers, this can also turn the network into a platform for growth, opening new revenue streams beyond connectivity through services like inference optimization, edge AI, trusted AI services, and industry-specific solutions. One noteworthy example is integrated sensing and communication, which allows AI to combine radio signals with vision and other inputs so wireless networks can connect devices while also detecting objects in movement. So support applications such as safer robotics, more efficient buildings, enhanced public safety, and even healthcare. Together, these capabilities define a new generation of intelligent, secure, and distributed networks that carry AI, use AI to improve operations, and enable AI-native applications and services, strengthening economic competitiveness and national security. I commend NTIA for this week's call to action for 6G leadership and security, which advances the international cooperation needed to ensure trusted partners shape the 6G future. To sustain U.S. leadership, I offer 3 policy priorities. First, accelerate the U.S. AI-native stack. Cisco is investing across multiple dimensions of AI-native networking, bringing new capabilities to 5G Advanced today while building the foundation for 6G. One example of this commitment is AI Win, a collaboration among Cisco, NVIDIA, MITRE, the O-RAN Development Company, Booz Allen, and T-Mobile, which brings AI, compute, networking, and wireless together to create a secure American-led path from 5G Advanced to AI-native 6G. I would encourage Congress to lean in on American strengths in these areas. Second, modernize permitting and infrastructure. As computing becomes more distributed, permitting must enable rapid and responsible deployment. As this committee considers the future of Universal Service Fund, it should account for the evolving costs of AI-ready networks so rural and urban communities can share in the benefits. Third, maintain a balanced spectrum policy. The 800 megahertz of licensed spectrum recently made available by Congress is essential to high-capacity, high-uplink connectivity. The FCC's authorization of the 6 gigahertz band for unlicensed use is equally important to meeting enterprise demand. A dependable pipeline of both is foundational to American leadership, and I thank you for your efforts to rebuild it. Cisco stands ready to work with this committee to ensure the U.S. remains the world's premier destination for AI and wireless innovation. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Everson. Mr. Ramzanali, welcome. You are recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Fisher, Ranking Member Lujan, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for holding this important hearing. My name is Assad Ramzanali, and I am the Director of AI and Technology Policy at the Vanderbilt Policy Accelerator. AI and telecommunications are deeply intertwined. Fiber networks are how data moves in and out of AI data centers. And for Americans to benefit from AI, every American must have access to that system. We must reprioritize deploying high-speed, reliable, and symmetrical networks that reach every home in this country. Because I agree with much of what my co-panelists have said, I won't repeat them. Instead, I'll start with one specific threat that AI poses to our telecommunications systems, and that's cybersecurity. Well before AI, our telecommunications networks were vulnerable. A couple of years ago, the Chinese hacking group Typhoon breached at least 8 US telecommunications providers, and it was actually able to intercept calls and text messages from high-profile targets, including presidential candidates. One investigation called our systems a house full of open windows. But Typhoon did it the old way, the low-tech, pre-AI way. In the last year, AI has started strengthening cyber attackers' methods. We've now seen several AI-enabled cyber attacks, including at least one that breached another country's telecommunications systems. As AI-enabled cyber threats started expanding, the FCC went the other way. It rescinded the cybersecurity rules that were put in place after Typhoon. That is the opposite of what we need to be doing. Now, we have even more reason for concern. Just last week, an OpenAI model in testing bypassed its sandbox constraints and hacked the AI platform Hugging Face. I recommend 3 actions on this front. First, require telecommunications providers to secure their networks, and similar requirements should be put in place for all critical infrastructure operators. Second, mandate pre-deployment testing of leading AI models. Testing should cover closed and open weight systems alike, but the mitigations to reduce the identified risks will differ. This should not become a ban on open weight models. Open weight models are critical for competition, for research, and for cybersecurity. Third, this committee should open an investigation into the OpenAI Hugging Face incident. I'll now use the remainder of my time to talk about how America's history with telecommunications, almost 2 centuries of history, can actually help inform the AI governance debates of today. Since the telegraph, communications providers have been required to treat similar customers alike. That's the principle of non-discrimination. As an example, consider that the FCC barred AT&T from blocking third-party equipment on its network, and that opened the door to early innovations like the answering machine, the fax machine, and even the modem that gave us the internet. AI model providers are now gatekeepers in their own right, and they have their own conflicts of interest. Here's one example. Last summer, as Claude Code started becoming popular, Anthropic cut off model access to an independent AI startup called Windsurf that also did AI coding. Anthropic was Windsurf's critical supplier, and it became its competitor. That's the conflict of interest. Gatekeepers pick winners and losers instead of consumers, competition, and markets deciding outcomes. 2, shared infrastructure, shared jurisdiction. Telecommunications has always been governed by federal, state, and local governments together. Today's data center build-out has no coherent governance strategy at all, and it's provoking real backlash around the country. Dozens of shelved projects, hundreds of protests, and hundreds of thousands of signatures just this year. With few policy levers at their disposal, hundreds of municipalities have turned to moratoriums, and one state has done the same. Instead of states subsidizing data center construction, Congress could establish a regime where local governments can charge a franchise fee so that they can compete for benefits, and they retain the right to say no. Finally, telecommunications is also instructive in the form of overspending on infrastructure that leads to bubbles. Today, trillions of dollars of investment are chasing tens of billions of dollars of AI revenue. This is more than the country has spent as a relative share of GDP than on the Manhattan Project, the Apollo program, the electricity build-out, or the interstate highway system. The financing mechanisms involved are also troubling. There's circular financing, which happened during the dot-com bubble. There's private credit, which Jamie Dimon has warned is full of cockroaches. There's special purpose vehicles, which Enron famously used. And there's asset-backed securities, which we all learned about in 2008. This committee investigated the financial engineering that enabled the dot-com bubble, but it did so after the bubble burst. In this instance, we can start those investigations now. There are myriad other things to discuss in the AI debate. I tried to focus on the infrastructural aspects of it. I thank you for holding this important hearing, and I look forward to your questions.